Hello, welcome to another video here in the series, A Course in Miracles. All right, so today we're going to be talking about vision and forgiveness. Oh my God, right? Yeah, we have talked about forgiveness many times. We'll talk about it again today, and we'll talk about it many times to come. As you know, it's a central theme of A Course in Miracles. And also, as you know, it is viewed and practiced differently in this particular thought system than it is in daily life in the world, where forgiveness is something that, well, some people pay plenty of attention to, and some pay no attention to it at all. And not surprisingly, the world has a very different view about what constitutes forgiveness. And again, not surprisingly, has a very different effect or lack thereof. All right. So we'll be talking about all of this as well as vision, the vision of, well, what vision? Whose vision? The vision of Christ. Who else? And we'll be talking about all of this within the context of the workbook lesson today, which is lesson 263. My holy vision sees all things as pure. Right, my holy vision sees all things as pure. So you may be asking, well, what does this have to do with forgiveness? Well, everything. What's really going on in the practice of forgiveness as it's presented in A Course in Miracles, you may have heard the term that Gary Renard termed quantum forgiveness. Yeah, that's ACIM forgiveness here. And yes, it's different than the way the world sees it, but lesson 263 has everything to do with it. Because what's going on when we forgive as directed here, as encouraged here in the practice of A Course in Miracles, we see things differently. And what's even more fun and perhaps even more important than that is we're choosing to see things differently. There is volition here, an act of volition, a crystal clear choice. The spirituality is about acceptance. Yes, it is. It's about allowing. It's about allowing the truth to simply be, and it's about the flow. Yet it's also highly dynamic and crystal clear and action oriented. It's all about experience. How do you bring about experience? You take action, right? It could be a thought. Forgiveness. It's an idea. It's an idea that you practice, and when you do it, you're seeing things with crystal clarity. It's about as active as you can possibly get. So to the extent that that encourages you, good. I hope it does. And what is really germane here is in practicing forgiveness the way the Course suggests that we do it, we're invited to see everything that occurs in the world as either an expression of love, the extension of love, or a call for love. When we forgive somebody or a circumstance or a group of people, the ego itself, the world, right? Yourself, don't forget that. When we forgive, we're seeing things differently. We're in effect saying, the way that you appear, say I'm forgiving you, for example, the way you appear to be is not what and who you really are. You really in truth, have done nothing to me, because there is no me, nor is there a separate you. There's no separation of any kind. We're choosing to see oneness. We're choosing to see innocence and purity. We're choosing to see our brother as ourself. We're choosing to love thy neighbor as thyself. Does that sound familiar? Right? That's what we're choosing when we forgive. We're choosing to see as Christ. My holy vision sees all things as pure, all people as pure, no matter what kind of crap they may pull in the world. And, they pull a lot of it. So do you, right? Because we all do, right? I mean, who hasn't given offense to somebody at some point? I mean, really, right? So in this world, we really have a powerful tool here in forgiveness as it is practiced, as it is encouraged and presented here in this course. It's profound. It's highly profound. My holy vision sees all things as pure. Either my brother is, or sister, I just use the term brother. The course uses it. So somebody, right? Brother means people in general. When I see someone as innocent, I see my own innocence. It's powerful. It is a powerful tool. When we forgive someone, we forgive ourselves. Why? There's no separation. No separation of any kind. Doesn't exist. We're choosing with crystal clarity in the present moment, the only time that we have to see. You'll recall some of the former earlier workbook lessons. Above all else, I want to see. We placed a lot of emphasis on vision, seeing things as they are, not as they appear to be or as the ego would have them. Now, the ego has us see a world of separation, me versus you, us versus them, a perceiver and the perceived. Well, forgiveness is the way that we see with the vision of Christ. My holy vision sees all things as pure. All right, so a couple of words here about how the world's version, the world's understanding and idea of forgiveness differs from that presented in A Course in Miracles. The easiest example that I can think of is that of one's own parents. Let's just say your mother, who may forgive you for certain things that you do, or say that she forgives you for certain things you do, yet there's a string attached. I forgive you, but. I mean, that's a strong word here. I forgive you, but if you ever do it again, I'm going to cancel your birthday. You'll be grounded. I'll never speak to you again, or, something along those lines. There's an offer of forgiveness, or there's a statement of forgiveness, yet there's a consequence should you ever transgress again. Now, as we know, there can't be transgression because there's no separation, there's no transgressor, and there's no one that is offended or harmed or actually transgressed. Now, in the world, when we see ourselves as separate bodies, then we do a hell of a lot of harm, literally, right? A hell of a lot of harm to one another. It's within this dynamic that forgiveness really can be seen as miraculous. We're choosing to see things the way they are. Now, in the world, forgiveness is often given with that kind of and but If you do this again, here's the consequence string attached. So it's not universal, it's not blanket in that context. It's not total, it's not complete, in other words. Therefore, as we've seen here in this course, because things are all or nothing, literally, it's nothing, right? And another thing that we see in the world is we see when someone says that they forgive somebody, the one doing the forgiving frequently, all too frequently, holds something over the other person's head. They harbor an air of superiority for having extended their royal grace and deigned to forgive you, sinful transgressor, scum, right? There's that attitude that prevails in a lot of people's supposed forgiveness. And the person forgiven under such circumstances may feel small. They may feel dirty or sinful or a bad person, a transgressor. So how is that in any way healing? It isn't. If you're setting someone up to lord something over someone's head, that's separation. If somebody who is supposedly forgiven is treated like a scum or encouraged to feel like scum, then they will hold a grudge, sometimes for decades or lifetimes. How is that in any way healing? Forgiveness, as it's presented here in A Course in Miracles, overlooks all the drama. It invites us to see our brother for who he is, to see our sister for who she is, to see people for who they are, which is you. There's no separation. Therefore, what is seen in the world as a transgression or sin or a jack move, so to speak, is in fact a call for love. Everything is either love or a call for love. And then what is the ultimate and the appropriate response to a call for love? Quite simply, it's to extend it. So that's how and why lesson 263 has everything to do with forgiveness as the Course presents it. My holy vision sees all things as pure. So I invite you to actively practice this, because again, spirituality, it has there's a certain component of learning here and watching videos and reading, and it's very important to know how things work, but it doesn't do you any good if you don't take action on it. That is where the action lies in spiritual practice, is in practical experience. You can learn about as many different world traditions as you can. And I think that's really beneficial, because the more you do that, the more you see that they all converge. Yeah, they're all beneficial. And it's universal, that spirituality is totally and completely universal. So this approach that I'm talking about here with A Course in Miracles is naturally, of course, and thank God, not the only approach that one can take in the world. There's a lot of different doors. That's the way I like to look at it, is spirituality has a lot of different doors that people can open and walk inside. And you can acquire a tremendous amount of knowledge. But if you don't act on it, if you don't apply that knowledge, then it doesn't really ultimately do you any good. You just collect knowledge, you collect book smarts. And in the world, we collect degrees, we collect professional certifications, things like that. And without the application, we don't really learn it. Spirituality is all about experience in this case. It's all about experience. So I invite you to experience the truth and the beauty of lesson 263 by forgiving as often as you can today, because the world is a theater, so to speak. It's a movie. It is a movie with scenes that race past on the screen. And if something makes us feel icky, or we see something that we disapprove of and it provokes a thought of judgment, that's an opportunity for forgiveness to correct that right there in the present moment. I mean, we have a living, breathing gift. It's right in front of us. Everything that anyone does is either an expression of love or a call for love. You have a choice as to how you see that. So I invite you to choose the truth of this lesson today. And I also invite you to have fun doing it. And pay attention to how you feel when you do, because that's important. That will impel further forgiveness, and it will start a chain reaction. And of course, if you don't believe me, try it. Try it and see. I want you to. All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon.